But the idea is to really honor Mark and to talk about his mark in the industry, and then also talk about a tangible way in order to honor his legacy through something he was very passionate about, which is the National Roller Coaster Museum. So I'm going to step away and let his colleagues talk about him a little bit, and then they have a very significant donation that they'd like to talk about, and then I'll bring up Gary and Richard to be able to talk about the museum a little bit, and then we'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your day. So, without further ado,
because when I started this in this industry, I was talking 50 years ago. I didn't know anybody. The first person I really started to know a little bit was that Mark Ward, sitting at the Hard Rock Hotel here together with Steve Zola, and they were teaching us a little bit how this industry works, together with my partners. And in all those 50 years, 60 years now, basically nearly, we've been always in contact, and he's been like, I think it's the same for you, he's been like a father, like the person that will take you by the hand. Let's go there, let's do this. Let's look at this person, let's see what you can do there. He was always there for me, and I think for most of us here. And he will be my friend forever. Absolutely. And I think what you've done there is fabulous. It's fantastic. It's good for the museum, good for the industry, good memory for Mark. I only have one little thing, and that's always the same thing I gave to Mark in the old days. A long time ago, Mark and I said to him, I'm going to make my own coasters. And of course there were no coasters. They were just those little awful, but very simple tiles, you know. And this is the one this year. And this should have been Mark's. It's now yours, Carol.
You know, we were all blessed to have Mark on our museum board, and for many years we did have to share his time with Ames, as he was on the Ames board too, and we were blessed to hear some stories and things that went back and forth. But after Mark was able to get off of his terms from Ames a few years ago, he was able to put more of his attention, 100% of it, into the museum effort. And it was only then that we really realized his deep love and care for the preservation of our industry and for the roller coasters and for everything that we ride and experience in this business of fun. And we finally got to see it. And certainly we're disappointed that that has left us early. But this seed money is going to help us to continue that dream that he was working with us on, that we all believed in, to make sure that this equipment is preserved and carried on in some format that generations long after we're gone will be able to go back and look at that wow factor. Wow, what would that have been like to ride that? I wonder what that experience was like. But if that vehicle is there and they can knock on that fiberglass panel, or if they can sit in that car, or they can pull that harness down, or they can look at a bumper car, they can look at a video, or they can look at a log flume, or everything that makes up this great industry that makes us all brethren here today, like a big fraternal order. And that's what it's about. We're going to preserve it to the best of our ability, as all of our donors and our support help allows us to do it. And Mark's always going to be there in our memory as we carry forth. And God willing, this new building that we're going to work on, his name is going to be right there front and prominent, and we're going to know who Mark Moore was. Okay? Thank you.
We need that whole class so we can applause. I know.
it's in the house in the desert.
Thanks.
Mark was one of the people who was very generous, very committed, very passionate about the museum because he saw a lot of the things that were disappearing. A lot of the earlier designers from the 20s and 30s, their families threw everything out. We don't have a lot of it. We're nitpicking. We're trying to find things. We're hoping that one day we will have a really significant collection that scholars can use to study this industry. No one has really put together this the history of this industry overall. There are people who've collected Santa Cruz or Philadelphia tobacco or whatever. They made those collections, but there's no place where it's all in one place. And we are trying to produce that. One of my favorite stories from the museum in Plainview is that am I going to say this right, councilman or a senator came out from Boston to see the building, and he was there. He was supposed to be there for 1 hour or 45 minutes. He had a schedule, so he pulled up all the official vehicles. He came in to look at the museum. He looked at everything, and I think he was done in 5 minutes. I've seen it. I got to go. And one of his assistants, was a young woman, saw the big bad wolf car sitting there. So she went up to the big bad wolf and she said to the senator, "I rode this with my father." First she wanted to know if it was actually the big bad wolf. And he said, "This is a big bad wolf from Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Virginia." And it's standing there. And she's looking at it, she goes, "I rode this with my father." So now the senator comes over and he's like, "Really?" And then the other assistant comes over, "Well, I rode that with my mother," whatever. So it was just all. So as it turned out, they asked the senator, "What did he rid?" He said, "Well, I rode the Comet at the State Fair of Texas." So Jeff Novotny gets a forklift, goes up, brings the car down, gets the Comet car. So he's like, "I rode this with my mother," So there was a connection, and it never went much further than that. But it kept him there for another 20, 30 minutes, and then he went on to his next meeting. But it was a frightening thing, I think, for the guys that were there. They were sort of sweating, like, we set all this up, it's going to last 5 minutes, we're done. And it turned into something positive. So, in any case, I miss him. He was a good friend, and, I don't want to, but as any of the people that have worked on this project, he was an important part of it, and we have to, we just have to say that we loved him, and that's all I can say. Our family loved him. There's a lot of people in this industry we love, but he really brought it to the table, and he, as I said, his generosity, and particularly this generosity, is a big step in the process going forward. So hopefully we can get some more senators and some more people involved with the project. But I thank all of you for being here. I didn't think it was going to be like this, but I'm really happy that you're all here, and I owe you a big hug.
Okay, so just to give you an idea, we talked about this $100,000 donation as being seed money. That's what Gary said. It all came together at Golden Tickets in Cedar Point. And since that time in September, that little seed money that was committed at that time has grown to nearly $250,000 already. And Stephanie Novotny's around here, so if you have credit cards or cash, we'll take your money today as well to continue the dream. But I mean, Mark did have a lot of friends in the industry, and all of us loved him and what he brought to the industry with his passion, and certainly from the museum board, just his passion for the preservation, as Gary talked about. But we have friends from Larson, from Rocky Mountain Construction, from Brian King, that have all donated significant amounts of money to this project so far. We hope that this Mark Moore addition to the museum in Plainview will help us with our mission. really Richard kind of downplayed it a little bit. I mean, we literally have hundreds of thousands of artifacts, from individual pictures to videotapes to patches, all the way up to full trains with control systems, so that we can preserve that history. And we need your help for that to help us keep Mark's memory alive. So again, thank you all for being here. I agree with Richard. This is a wonderful turnout and a great tribute. So thank you.